Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome to 30 Albums for 30 Years, 1964 through 1994. I am your host, Jay Sweet. Today's record is Donovan's Sunshine Superman on Columbia Records, released August 26th of 1966 and recorded between December of 1965 through May of 1966. Let's get into it. All right, so we've already talked about Donovan in season number 2, episode number 12, when we discussed the album, What's Been Did and What's Been Hid. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Before the release of Sunshine Superman, his third record, Donovan had already established himself as a prominent figure in the folk music scene. He was born in 1946 in Scotland, began his musical career as a teenager playing in local clubs and coffee houses, and he gained attention for his distinctive finger-picking guitar style and his heartfelt songwriting. In 1964, Donovan signed with Pi Records and released that album, What's Been Did and What's Been Hid. And the title track, Catch the Wind, became a hit, propelling Donovan to fame in the UK and the US. Donovan's music drew from traditional folk influences and the psychedelic movement of the 1960s. His lyrics often reflected themes of love, spirituality, and social consciousness. By the time Sunshine Superman was released, Donovan had really already established himself as a leading figure in the folk rock and psychedelic folk genre. All right, so about the album, Sunshine Superman, it was released, of course, in 1966. It is a seminal album in the folk rock and psychedelic folk genre. In the US, the album peaked at number 11 on the Billboard charts and number 4 in the UK. Donovan has provided different explanations regarding the origins of the album's title, Sunshine Superman. One explanation is that it was inspired by the comic book character Superman, of course, with the sunshine part representing his sometimes positive and sunny outlook. Another interpretation is that the term Sunshine Superman was a name given to Donovan by his friends during his time in California, and that nickname reflected Donovan's reputation for being upbeat and optimistic. The album mainly features Donovan on vocals, guitar, and organ, Bobby Ray on bass guitar, Eddie Ho on drums, and Sean Phillips on the sitar, although there are some notable guest musicians added to the title track, and we'll get into that. All right, let's get into the album. All right, it's time to drop the needle on Sunshine Superman, the title song. Now, all the songs were written by Donovan. Sunshine Superman was a major hit and a genre-defying song regarding the psychedelic rock movement of the 1960s. The song reached number 1 in both the US and the UK. The lyrics are filled with surreal imagery. Musically, Sunshine Superman was considered a crowning achievement in production and arrangement. Donovan and the powers that be must have known that he had a hit song on his hands, and they spent a great deal of time and effort to make sure that it was perfectly recorded. Studio musicians were brought in for the recording, most notably guitarist Jimmy Page and bassist John Paul Jones. You might have heard of them. They were in a little band called Led Zeppelin. You will also hear a harpsichord, a double bass, and some added percussion on the track. It's a pretty trippy number with some jazzy vibes. So put on your sunglasses and your cape if you have one, and enjoy the sunshine and get your mind blown. Sunshine Superman.